And just days after the announcement of the U.S.-Iran framework agreement, some commercial vessels are now moving out of the Strait of Hormuz. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes shows us what the president is saying about this agreement at the G7 summit.
We have our deal done with Iran.
President Trump in Evian, France, hailed the new agreement, claiming the text, which has not yet been released, blocks Iran from developing nuclear weapons.
And if they do, they suffer unbelievable consequences.
The page-and-a-half-long agreement ends hostilities with Iran, setting up a 60-day window for detailed talks about Iran's nuclear program.
We're going to see if they're serious about dismantling that program for the long term.
Vice President J.D. Vance selling the deal on social media.
The Straits of Hormuz are open immediately. You're already seeing oil and gas prices come down.
The average U.S. price of a gallon of gas is $4.04 today, down from the wartime peak last month of $4.56.
This does seem more solid than other announcements that we've seen.
Virginia Democrat Tim Kaine said the ceasefire is a good thing, but
it's a war we never should have been in.
Disputes over the deal have already begun. Iran says it plans to charge new service fees to ships that enter the Strait of Hormuz. Trump says there will be no charge.
It's toll-free. We had a little argument on that. It's toll-free.
Still, news of the agreement was welcomed here in Europe amid an economic slowdown.
I'm very hopeful.
Mirjana Spoljaric is the president of the International Red Cross.
How has the strait being closed all of these months affected humanitarian pressure points around the world?
Mainly by increasing fuel prices. This is a big impact. We have difficulties getting fuel for some of our planes, in particular in Yemen and in other regions. But it impacts the people. It impacts everything.
All right, Nancy Cordes reporting there. For a closer look at this tentative deal between the U.S. and Iran, we have Robert Pape joining us. He's the author of the Escalation Trap Substack. He is also a political science professor at the University of Chicago. Welcome. We should note to our viewers, you've been a critic of this war. You've been out loud and saying you don't agree with it. But taking a look at what Vice President J.D. Vance is saying is in this memo, what Iran is saying the agreement contains, do you think the U.S. succeeded in its campaign?
No. President Trump lost the bombing. The bombing only resulted in Iran gaining power, gaining Hormuz. Now, President Trump is at great risk of losing the negotiations. You can already see that Iran, immediately after Trump announced the deal, said, well, hold it a minute. Its deputy foreign minister said, we're expecting $12 billion up front. That's billions of dollars before we go forward. And what happened yesterday on CBS was that J.D. Vance started talking about all the billions that are going to come to Iran. So effectively, Vance is moving in Iran's direction, literally as we're watching the days move forward. And this is likely to get worse because you see, Iran is only beginning to move into its period of maximum leverage. That hasn't happened yet. That's going to happen over the next 60 days. And that bodes very poorly for what America will end up with at the end of any of these negotiations.
So what then do you make of the Trump administration's approach? We have to remind our viewers that it was President Trump who ripped up the previous U.S. agreement, multinational agreement with Iran, the JCPOA. Defense Secretary Hegseth said to CBS this weekend that, well, now the U.S. is negotiating from a position of strength. How does this compare to what the U.S. already had? And if Iran is at a place of maximum leverage, what has the U.S. lost?
So when this whole thing really got off the rails, when President Trump in 2018, so think about that, 8 years ago, ripped up the Obama nuclear deal, which had effectively frozen the Iranian nuclear program. And that is now out completely crystal clear. And what President Trump has been trying to do ever since is just literally get back to even with that deal that he ripped up. He keeps saying he wants something bigger, better. Well, everybody who's looked at this deal, including me, sees this is far weaker than the JCPOA. It is nowhere close to what he ripped up. And what is at risk here now is not just that Iran will get a nuclear weapon. That is actually more likely today than ever before. What's at risk now is America has lost its tremendous role in the world as the guarantor of free trade and open trade. And what that means is for 35 years, that is since the end of the Cold War, it's been America who has guaranteed all those arteries that make for trade, globalization, all the cheap goods that we have and enjoy. This has now been put at great risk. So the risks here are not just, well, what's going to happen over there in Iran and what's going to happen in the Persian Gulf. For decades, our globalized system, in 1990, it was the world trade was 38% of world product. Today, it's 60%. That did not happen without America being able to guarantee the flow of trade in the world. That's what's gone here. And it's not just in the Persian Gulf. It's in many places. And this is why this war is not just a loss for Trump. This is a loss not just for America. This is going to be a loss for the world for years going forward.
Well, viewers can take a look at your Substack to get more of your views on this. Professor Pape, thanks for being with us on this Tuesday.
Thank you for having me.